It's time to get real. Podcasting from Hotlanta, Georgia, and streaming across the planet and beyond. Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, where excuses get destroyed and fears get annihilated. So strap yourself in and get ready for mind-blowing content and profound motivation that will shatter the norm. It's time for you to get more, be more, and do more. Because after all, you deserve it. So let's get some. Now, podcasting to the world, but talking directly at you. Here's your host of Get Real, Paul Clewell.
To play into that. So the takeaway right off the out of the gate that Paul's talking about is make sure you feed that entrepreneurship spirit because it is relevant to you. Going into that a little bit deeper, Paul, with you then, is let's say assuming that everybody that's listening now says, hey, look, I am that a person like you, Paul or Andrew. I am that entrepreneur. Let's talk about some of the kind of the main ingredients of therefore what makes up the ingredients or the traits or the characteristics of that entrepreneur. Maybe if someone was they're still trying to figure out, are they truly an entrepreneur? What are some of the things that they can look at, right? And ingredients, that's a big word there. Because ingredients go so wide and so far. There's
Sure.
all kinds of words we could talk about here.
Yeah.
But I want to try to bullet down with you as those core 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you have of ingredients that it takes to make that entrepreneur an entrepreneur. What do you see out there?
Yeah, man, that's a great point and a great question. And I think the biggest key to being an entrepreneur, and you mentioned the word true,
Okay.
and it's identifying who the true you is. And going a little bit deeper, you have to become as authentic of a human being as you can become. And here's what I mean by that. Your inside perception and your outside reality have to be the same, right? And for example, if I meet Joe Smith on the street and Joe Smith tells me he is a real estate investor, and my first question to build rapport with Joe Smith is, how many houses have you flipped? He goes, well, I haven't really flipped any yet. But that's what I want to go do.
Right.
There's a gap between what we're presenting to the world, what we want them to think about us, as opposed to who we really are. And until that inner being comes out and meets that outside perception of who you are, those two things have to line up. Mm-hmm. And once those two things line up, you have you experience the freedom and the flexibility to now just do you. Right? There's no need to judge anybody else anymore. You do you, and you really can't in the world of entrepreneurship until who you are on the inside matches who you are on the outside. You can't come across and present yourself as somebody that you are not.
Yeah, I love that point because I think you're right because there's so many people out there that have this personification of who they maybe want to be, but internally they're really a totally different person or where they're at in life right now. And it happens all the time, right? And until what you're saying, until you push this inner person out and to meet that, what you're kind of personifying of who you are as a person or as an entrepreneur,
Precisely.
You'll never really become that true entrepreneur because you're living behind this fake wall of what you want to be versus inside you're really not that person, and you got to let that person out of that cage.
Man, you said it.
And I think when I think of entrepreneur, like kind of my, there's this funny thing called a spirit animal, right? That's out there, and I got this from an old Rob Dyrdek show on the Fantasy Factory. But on the spirit animal, like to me, I have always like kind of naturally had that like lion. When I just think of like internally, this is probably getting too deep in myself. I wasn't thinking about saying this, but when I think about like myself. Internally, like entrepreneurship, one-on-one, I'm just in my room thinking about who I am. Dude, I just kind of think of that like lion mentality that I want to freaking just come out like a beast. And I think it's why I've never struggled with not being who's out here because dude, like I'm an aggressive like dude, I want to roar and I want you to know that of who I am. And but other people that you're listening right now as an entrepreneur, they may not have that same maybe lion, quote unquote, spirit animal there. Not all of us are going to be the same. And if you're not, that's fine. It doesn't matter kind of what's in what spirit animal. I'm using that as an illustration. What's inside of you. The point is, you got to get that internal to meet that external, so that you can actually become the true entrepreneur. That's that secret ingredient, if you will.
Yeah.
The secret sauce on the food, if you will, that you were making there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Dude, yeah, you hit it on the head. And so here's a couple of really good examples.
Okay.
Social media.
All right.
How many keyboard kings or keyboard warriors are
Keyboards,
out there
yeah.
creating a persona around who they want the world to think they are?
Right.
And they're not nearly in line with who they are on the inside. Here's another great example. Do you know what the biggest security threat is with regional and local airports right now?
Biggest security threat for
Trick
local
question.
and
For
regional.
regional small airports, their biggest security concern is a self-proclaimed entrepreneur jumping the fence, getting a selfie in front of a King Air, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they can push it out on social media,
Yeah.
Or walking into the the Lamborghini store in Alpharetta,
Yeah.
taking a shot with the red Lamborghini, portraying an image
Yeah.
that is so not true. How many guys do you know that wear football jerseys, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys with someone else's freaking name on the back?
Yeah.
Grown friggin' men wearing jerseys of other men on their back. And they say, oh, we won this week. No, bro. They won.
Right.
You have to get up and go to work.
You cheered.
Okay?
Yeah, dude, I think it's funny you mentioned that. Just
Man.
literally like yesterday I was watching on Instagram, and this Instagram, what you kind of call the brand or the person out there, we're talking about the airport getting a selfie, and this Instagrammer, they were putting this like a building or something, and they were putting this plywood up over this store, and to protect the windows or whatever, and this girl pulled over, her and her husband, jumped out of the car, ran over to where this construction worker was who was screwing in this plywood. They grabbed the drill and asked the person, hey, can we put a screw in real quick? And so this girl puts this, he set it for her, and then she kind of like screwed the screw in this wall that they were putting in. And her husband was recording all of it, and she was doing it as though I'm out here helping everybody and helping the community. They literally recorded her do this. Someone else recorded her. And then she literally put the screw in, jumped back in her car, and drove away.
Yeah.
But then on an Instagram account, she was talking about how she's out here serving her community today, working with her community about protecting it, whatever it was. Her point was, in reality, she literally just pulled over, put a screw in, and jumped back in her car. That's what that fake persona. That dude, that's not a real. You're not even close to being what's real in life. You have this fake idea of the concept that's out there, and until those internal and external meet, you will always live in this weird stage. And if you're right now listening to this, and that's you right now, and you want to be this entrepreneur, this business person, you want to start whatever business is that you have, or you want to grow this business to 6 locations versus the 1 location, and you're living this world, there's a great truth that Paul's talking about of, dude, you got to move from this internal who you really are and get out there to that external side of you and become that person. If not, you'll live in this miserable, although it may look like this world. I love it sometimes when you see these, like, sometimes the bloggers that are out there or brands, whatever it is, will show you behind the scenes of like, this is what I showed you, but this is what it actually looked like before everything.
Yeah.
And you kind of see the real world there.
You do see the real world. Here's
You've been listening to the Get Real Podcast. Please subscribe and give us a rating on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. And be a hero by sharing it with your friends. For more information about starting your business, scaling your business, and making more money, please visit us at www.thegetrealplan.com. Until next time, stay driven, be humble, and keep grinding.